So, friends, I'd like to go ahead and begin our practice. My name is Julia. I'm one of the facilitators of the Spokane Sangha, and we have been practicing Buddhist inspired recovery in Soul Center for a little more than 8 years. And it is such a privilege to be here. It is such an honor to practice. On Wednesdays, we do something unique, and that is that we take the time to study Zen Buddhist practitioners, masters, really. And this began a long time ago with one of our Sangha members, Christopher, who brought forward, this was during the pandemic, Suzuki Roshi's Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind. And we read that book together over weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And then we read a wonderful book by Roshi Joan Halifax called Standing at the Edge. And getting through that book took us 2.5 years. And so it really is this devoted practice of taking these Zen teachings for this very slow, contemplative, deep dive. We are now reading this wonderful book called Go Slowly, Breathe, and Smile. This book, oh, yay, Jenna. Jenna's got hers. This book is written by Rashane Ray, and it is all the sayings of Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh, who was a Vietnamese Zen practitioner, a monk since he was 16. He devoted his entire life to what we now know as socially engaged Buddhism, and bringing forward to the Western consciousness the concept of mindfulness. So with that, I'd like to go ahead and begin our practice. And on Zen's days, I would really, really like to encourage us to, as a practice of mindfulness, to first check in with the body and allow the body, if the body needs it, lots of space to rest. The journey of recovery is intense. It has very, very tricky emotional landscapes at times. The body goes through enormous, tumultuous experiences of neglect and healing. And in the Western culture, we do not give ourselves enough time to rest. So today, I would highly encourage you to lie down. If you fall asleep during your practice today, invite that to be a perfect practice. If you're already asleep, hopefully you have a warm blanket and a nice pillow, and you can really settle in and find some rhythm to the breath, breathing in, breathing out. If you take a moment and notice that your mind is racing, it's full of thoughts, maybe you're entertaining a story in this moment that you're not very good at meditation, that you're nervous about meditation, I would simply encourage you to smile and say to yourself, wow, would you look at that? Look at that silly story in my mind right now. How about we just breathe and put the worry to rest along with the body. Put the worry to rest. Put the joy to rest. Put the sorrow and despair to rest, disappointment, fear to rest. You can tuck all of those emotions in tight, give them a nice pillow and blanket, and let them have a rest. And for now, allow the body to slow everything down by simply breathing in, breathing out. Let everything be as it is. Even if the body can't calm down, let that be. Give your body full permission to not be able to calm down. And maybe with cycles of breath, slowing it down with intentionality, allowing the breath to grow deeper, a deeper inhalation, maybe watching the belly rise and fall with the air filling the lungs completely on an inhalation and allowing the lungs to empty completely on an exhalation. There is a physiological reason why breathing with intentionality, slowing it down, bringing the breath to fuller form is effective at calming down, is because we increase the oxygen in our blood. Oxygenated blood allows the body to work more efficiently, to work with greater precision. The heart becomes regulated. All of your core organs begin to find a rhythm and work in harmony. The stomach and intestines, the liver, the pancreas, the bile ducts, gallbladder, the kidneys, the brain begins to calm down. The frenzied activity begins to settle and thoughts are clearer. The muscles relax. The bone and the cell structures in the bone marrow calm down. The breath governs the whole universal system of the body. To breathe as we are doing so right now is a gift that you've just granted yourself. What an amazing and extraordinary thing to do. And what a privilege to be able to do it in community. So let's spend just a few moments breathing together, allowing the body the fullness of restoration and relaxation. For the month of June, in the Spokane Sangha, we are exploring the theme of love, cultivating limitless, unconditional Maitri, love. And with it comes kindness. To be loving is to be kind is to be loving. And so already we've been practicing so beautifully together by offering the body the kindness of breath. the loving quality of being present, the ability to calm down. The saying that I'd like to share with you today, I want to preface it a little bit because it's a little on the heavy side, and at the same time, I think it's exceptionally pertinent to the journey of recovery, which can at times be enormously heavy. For the past week or so, we have heard from several Sangha members who are navigating some pretty difficult emotional landscapes. The weight of grief, the confusion and disappointment associated with recurrences, the insecurity of being new in sobriety. And these are things that can elicit and stir up emotions that for many of us we've spent years and years suppressing and repressing through the use of avoidance, distraction, using substances, and doing all kinds of other activities so as not to feel the feelings. And when we come into the fullness of recovery, we have to remind ourselves that we have the capacity to sit with our full spectrum of emotions, even when we doubt, even when we can question our capacity. The human spirit, its resilience and tenacity, lives in everyone, and we can find it and tap it into it and enable ourselves to stay with whatever is arising. And Thich Nhat Hanh gives us guidance and permission, and one of the things that he encourages is that you put your hands in the shape of a bowl. And so if it feels true to you, you can do that through the course of this practice today. Just imagine your hands in the shape of a bowl, able to hold whatever emotion is arising within. Thich Nhat Hanh writes, I hold my face in my two hands, my hands hollowed to catch what might fall from within me, deeper than crying. I hold my face in my two hands, my hands hollowed to catch what might fall from within me, deeper than crying. He also writes, I wrote these lines after hearing about the bombing of Ben Tre and the comment made by an American military man who said, we had to destroy the town in order to save it. You know, that sentiment, we had to destroy something in order to save it, is very reminiscent of a narrative popular in recovery circles, which is that people have to hit their rock bottom in order to awaken and change. And that might actually be true. and it most definitely is not the whole truth. And Thich Nhat Hanh is reminding us that in that place of what's true and not the whole truth, we can stir deep, deep legacies of emotion that can come up from very dark, haunted spaces within and be incredibly unnerving. And so to remember that we have strength, we can put our hands into a bowl, we can cup our hands and hold our face and hold those emotions from within, knowing that we are also holding those emotions for anyone else enduring the same. This is why sometimes the emotions are so intense. They're not just yours. You may be the one experiencing the stirring, but if we look just a little bit closer, we come into the awareness that, oh, other people have experienced this too. And their sorrow, their disappointment, their bewilderment and confusion is also rising up in me. Maybe my parents and grandparents and their parents and grandparents. Maybe the legacy of my ancestors is rising up deeper than my weeping. And perhaps if I stay and sit with it with the courage I know I possess, I can not only heal myself, but I can heal the legacy of my ancestors. What a gift. And if you're anything like me, you have a mind with a quick inner critic that's like, me? I have the capacity to do that? No way, no how. I am a loser. I am not practiced. I don't know how to do any of this. I'm not worthy. Story, story, story. Would you look at that? And it might all be true and not the whole truth, because the truth is you and me both have the divine wisdom to heal the legacy of our ancestors, to heal the legacy of one another. When we heal ourselves, we heal the world. When we heal ourselves, we heal everyone. So let's just take a moment and come back to the breath and allow whatever emotion is arising in your inner landscape to be present, to have a voice. Remember, you can be with it even if it's uncomfortable. And if it gets to be too much, you can invite it to have a rest and breathe. I'd like to conclude our practice today with a breathing mantra that I say to myself at least once a day. It's very, very simple, and I find it really effective, especially when I'm working with the idea of something being true and not true at the same time. So when I breathe in, I acknowledge, breathing in, I am not okay. For whatever reason, I'm not okay. I just keep it simple. Breathing in, I am not okay. Breathing out, I am okay. Breathing in, I am not okay. Breathing out, I am okay. We can be both, and in fact, often we are. Alrighty, friends, let's go ahead and end our practice with a dedication of merit. In the sanctuary of Soul Center, right behind me actually, right nestled next to a spider plant on the mantle of our fireplace, is a little statue, a little carved stone statue, and it's called Weeping Buddha. And this particular Buddha is completely bent over, rolled over into his body, hands cupped, face in his hand, weeping. And this particular statue is a reminder to come into the awareness that whatever sorrow and weeping that and difficulty that we are holding, we're not alone. We're holding it for so many other people. And that can be really daunting at times. And it's simply there as a reminder of you're not alone. As human beings, we share in our sorrow and joy. We share in our successes and our failures. We share in our learning and our missteps. And when we come to a healthy community and get to share about it and talk about it, we see reflected back to us the magnificence and resilience of the human spirit. We dedicate this practice to all those out there still lost and confused, afflicted with substance use disorders. We dedicate this practice to all of our unhoused friends who are struggling on the streets. May they have what they need, especially safety and a place to rest. We dedicate this practice to anyone who has been in trouble with the law and is in jail or prison. May they have safety and ease, and may they find ways to practice. We dedicate this practice to anyone who is in the hospital and sick, anyone who is isolated in their apartment, anyone who feels alone. May the merit and effort of this practice ripple out into the universe, into our local communities, our states, our nations, the globe. May the warmth of this practice, the generosity of this practice, wrap sentient beings in tenderness, care, and love. Thank you for bringing your beautiful selves to this wonderful practice, for the impression of hope and joy you leave here. I really look forward to practicing with you again. We'll see you next time. Namaste.